Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own life? You perform your role flawlessly, the diligent student, the responsible employee, the caring friend, the devoted partner. You wear the right clothes, say the right things, and smile at the right moments. From the outside, your life looks like a well-charted course. But in the quiet moments, when the applause dies down and the audience is gone, a profound and unsettling feeling creeps in. A sense of emptiness, a feeling that the person everyone sees is not the real you. It's a mask, a carefully constructed persona, and behind it, you are profoundly lost. Or perhaps you experience something even more bewildering. You find yourself sabotaging your own success, pushing away the very love you crave, or making impulsive choices that seem to come from a part of you that you don't even recognize. It feels as if there is a ghost in your own machine, a hidden force steering your life towards reefs you consciously want to avoid. You ask yourself, why am I doing this? Who is in control here? This feeling of being fractured, of being at war with an unknown part of yourself, is the quiet agony of the modern soul. It's a journey that the legendary Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding. Jung would say that you are not going crazy. You are simply waking up to a fundamental truth of the human psyche, that who we think we are is only a tiny fraction of who we truly are. He invites us on the most courageous adventure imaginable, a voyage into the vast, uncharted inner world, to meet the hidden parts of ourselves and reclaim our own wholeness. Imagine your life is a magnificent ship. Your conscious mind, the part you think of as you, is the captain, standing proudly on the bridge. This is what Jung called the ego. The ego is the center of your conscious world. It makes the plans, gives the orders, and steers the ship based on what it can see and understand. The uniform the captain wears, the crisp, professional facade presented to other ships and to the authorities at port, is the persona. The persona is necessary. It's our social mask, allowing us to function in the world. But the danger, as many of us discover, is when the captain forgets they are wearing a uniform, when they mistake the mask for their true face. The real drama, however, is not happening on the pristine bridge. It's happening below deck, in the vast, dark, and often ignored parts of your ship. And it's happening in the very ocean you sail upon. Jung provided a map of this inner world, and with it, the tools to navigate not just for survival, but for a profound sense of purpose. Today, we embark on that journey. We will light a lantern and descend the narrow staircase into the depths of your own being. We are not just looking for answers, we are looking for the lost pieces of you, so that you can finally become the whole, integrated captain of your own life's voyage. This journey into the self, this process of becoming whole, is what Jung called individuation. It is the central task of a human life. It's not about becoming perfect, but about becoming complete. It's the process of discovering and integrating all the disparate parts of yourself, conscious and unconscious, into a functioning, authentic whole. If this call to a deeper, more authentic life is already resonating with you, if the idea of finally understanding the hidden forces within you sparks a sense of hope, then take a moment to join our crew. Subscribe to Mind Decode Explained, where we navigate these profound waters of the human psyche together. We believe the greatest journey is the one within. Our first descent takes us below the main deck, into a space Jung identified as the personal unconscious. Imagine this as the sprawling cargo hold of your ship. It's dark and cluttered, filled with everything the captain, your ego, has forgotten, ignored, or actively repressed during your life's journey. It contains memories from childhood you can no longer consciously recall, feelings you were taught were unacceptable and had to shove down, and skills or potentials you never explored. It's the storage room of your personal history. Now, scattered throughout this cargo hold are what Jung called complexes. A complex is not just a single memory. It's a cluster of memories, feelings, and ideas all bound together by a strong emotional charge, like a bundle of magnetic scrap metal. For example, if you had a very critical parent, you might develop a father complex or an authority complex. This isn't just a memory of being criticized. It's a whole network of thoughts. I'm not good enough. Emotions, fear, shame, physical sensations, a tightening in the stomach, and behaviors, avoiding challenges, becoming defensive, that get triggered automatically whenever you encounter a figure of authority, like a boss or a teacher. The captain on the bridge has no idea why they suddenly feel small and incompetent in a board meeting. They just react. But deep below deck, the authority complex has been activated and is sending panicked signals throughout the entire ship, causing it to lose power or veer off course. Have you ever overreacted to a minor comment, or felt an irrational dislike for someone you've just met? Or found yourself stuck in the same self-defeating relationship pattern again and again? These are often signs that a complex has been triggered. The choice you make in that moment doesn't feel like a choice at all. It feels like an irresistible compulsion. You are no longer the captain. A ghost from your past has seized the helm. So how do we begin to map this personal unconscious? How do we find these complexes and understand their power? Jung was a great believer in the power of paying attention to the messages from our unconscious. One of our primary tools for this exploration is our logbook, but a very specific kind of logbook, a dream journal. For Jung, dreams are not just random neural firings. They are direct, uncensored letters from the unconscious. They speak in a language of symbols and metaphors, showing us what the ego is ignoring. When you start writing down your dreams without judgment or immediate interpretation, you begin to gather data from below deck. You might notice recurring themes, characters, or feelings. Perhaps you often dream of being unprepared for an exam, even though you've been out of school for years. This might not be about school at all. It could be your unconscious telling you, through symbol, that you feel constantly tested and judged in your waking life, a clear sign of an inferiority complex at play. Another tool is a form of journaling that goes beyond just recording events. It involves a practice Jung called active imagination. This is a conscious dialogue with the figures in your mind. You might take a feeling, like the anxiety that grips you, and in your journal, give it a voice. Ask it, "What do you want from me? What are you afraid of?" And then you write down the answer that seems to bubble up from within. This may sound strange, but it is a powerful way to interact directly with those emotionally charged complexes, to understand their origins and their needs, rather than just being ruled by them. By doing this, the captain is not just staying on the bridge. They are bravely walking through the cargo hold with a lantern, taking inventory, learning the secrets of their own ship. They are beginning to understand that the strange groans and shudders of the vessel are not random. They are messages, asking to be heard. But as we venture deeper into the hold, past the personal baggage of our own lives, we come to a sealed door. Behind this door is a presence the captain has spent their entire life denying. This is the realm of what is perhaps Jung's most famous and misunderstood concept, the shadow. The shadow is the stowaway on your ship. It is the archetype of everything you have disowned about yourself. It is everything you believe you are not. If you have built your persona around being kind, gentle, and agreeable, your shadow will contain your aggression, your assertiveness, your capacity for anger. If your persona is that of a logical, rational intellectual, your shadow will hold your wild creativity, your intuition, your deep sentimentality. Society, family, and education teach us that certain parts of ourselves are good and others are bad. The parts we label bad, we repress. We lock them away in the deepest, darkest part of the ship, and pretend they don't exist. This brings us to a critical misconception. We tend to think of the shadow as evil or purely negative. But Jung insisted this is not true. The shadow is not evil. It is just unlived. It's like a powerful engine you've shut down and refuse to use because you're afraid of its power. And because it's in the dark, it contains not just our flaws, but also our greatest hidden strengths. The passion you were taught to suppress, the ambition you were told was unladylike, the vulnerability you were told was unmanly, these are all treasures buried in the shadow. As the Jungian analyst Robert A. Johnson wrote, "The shadow contains our unlived gold." So, what happens when the shadow is ignored? The stowaway doesn't just disappear. It works against the captain from the darkness. It is the source of our self-sabotage. The captain steers towards a healthy relationship, but the shadow, starved for attention, creates a sudden outburst of irrational jealousy that scuttles the ship. The captain works hard for a promotion, but the shadow, fearing the responsibility the captain craves, forgets to set an alarm for the big presentation. Even more commonly, the shadow gets projected onto others. This is a crucial psychological mechanism. When we refuse to see a quality in ourselves, we have a powerful tendency to see it, magnified, in other people. Have you ever felt an intense, almost visceral dislike for someone for no good reason? Do you find yourself constantly irritated by a particular type of person? Perhaps someone you see as arrogant, or lazy, or overly emotional. Jung would gently suggest that you are likely looking at a projection of your own shadow. The things that infuriate you most in others are often the very parts of yourself you have refused to acknowledge. The arrogant person is mirroring the ambition you've denied in yourself. The lazy person is mirroring the part of you that desperately craves rest, which your perfectionistic persona will not allow. The work of individuation, then, is not to kill the stowaway. That is impossible, and it would rob you of your unlived gold. The work is to do the bravest thing a captain can do. Open the door, bring the shadow out of the darkness, and begin a conversation. It means asking, "What part of me is this?" It means having the courage to admit, "Yes, I too have the capacity for anger. I too have the capacity for selfishness. I also have the capacity for great passion." When you own a piece of your shadow, it no longer has power over you from the dark. You take back your projection. The person who irritated you so much may still be annoying, but they no longer have a powerful emotional hook in you. You have taken your energy back. By integrating the shadow, the stowaway becomes a member of the crew. The repressed anger, when brought into the light and handled consciously, becomes healthy assertiveness and the ability to set boundaries. The repressed creativity becomes a source of innovation and joy. The ship becomes more powerful because it is no longer fighting itself. The captain is no longer living in fear of a mutiny from below deck because they have made peace with the most feared member of their crew. This is an act of profound self-acceptance. Now that the captain is on speaking terms with the crew in the cargo hold and the stowaway in the bilge, they begin to notice something else. They notice the very water they are sailing on is not neutral. The ocean itself has powerful, invisible currents, ancient tides, and recurring weather patterns that affect every ship, regardless of its flag or destination. This ocean is Jung's most profound and mystical concept, the collective unconscious. If the personal unconscious is the record of your individual life, the collective unconscious is the psychic inheritance of all humanity. It's a shared reservoir of experiences, memories, and symbols from our ancestral past, going all the way back to the dawn of our species. It's the source of the fact that myths from ancient Greece, stories from Native American tribes, and modern Hollywood blockbusters often share the exact same fundamental characters and plots. These universal, recurring themes and images are what Jung called archetypes. The shadow was one archetype. The persona is another. But there are countless others: the hero, the wise old man, the the great mother, the trickster. These are not physical things. They are innate potentials in the psyche, blueprints for certain types of experience. We are all born with the capacity to recognize a mother figure, to understand a hero's journey, to respond to a wise elder. The archetypes are the currents in the ocean. You cannot see the current itself, but you can see its effect as it pulls your ship. When you are deeply moved by a piece of music, when you feel a sense of awe looking at the stars, or when you find yourself playing a role in a family drama that feels like it's been going on for generations, you are in the grip of an archetype. Understanding this changes everything for the captain. They realize their personal struggles are not just personal. Their fear of the unknown is the same fear every hero has felt at the start of their quest. Their search for a mentor taps into the timeless archetype of the wise old man or woman. Their complex relationship with their mother is part of the great, universal story of the mother archetype. This realization is incredibly healing. It connects your small, personal story to the great, universal story of humanity. You are not alone on this ocean. Your voyage is part of a much larger, meaningful pattern. This knowledge gives the captain a new kind of wisdom. When a powerful emotional storm hits, they can now ask, "What archetypal current has my ship just entered? Is this a confrontation with a trickster figure, here to upset my rigid plans and teach me flexibility? Am I on a hero's journey, currently in the belly of the whale phase, where all seems lost?" This perspective allows you to navigate these powerful emotional experiences without being completely overwhelmed by them. You can honor their power and learn their lessons, knowing that countless ships have navigated these same currents before you. So, the captain has explored their personal history, made peace with their shadow, and learned to read the archetypal currents of the great ocean. What is the point of all this? Where is the ship going? This leads us to the ultimate goal of the Jungian journey, the realization of the self. And here we must be very clear. For Jung, the self, with a capital S, is not the ego. The ego, our captain, is the center of consciousness. The self is the center of the entire psyche, conscious and unconscious. It is the organizing principle of your whole being. If the ego is the captain on the bridge, the self is the entire, fully integrated ship, the captain, the crew, the cargo, the stowaway, all working in harmony, sailing skillfully on the vast ocean. The self is the archetype of wholeness, the image of God within us, as Jung would sometimes say. The process of individuation is the lifelong journey of the ego deferring to and entering into a relationship with the self. The captain realizes that their job is not to impose their will on the ship and the sea through force, but to listen to the messages from the unconscious, dreams, complexes, to integrate the wisdom of the shadow, and to respect the power of the archetypal ocean. The goal is no longer just, "What do I want?" the question of the ego. The central question of the second half of life, as the prominent Jungian analyst James Hollis puts it, becomes, "What does the soul want? Does the self want from me? What choice will lead to greater wholeness?" A choice made from this place is radically different. When faced with a decision to take a job, to end a relationship, to start a new creative project, the captain no longer just makes a list of pros and cons based on logic and what society expects, the persona's concerns. They also turn inward. They ask, "Does this choice make my ship feel more solid, more whole? Does it honor both my conscious values and the needs of my hidden crew? Does it align with the archetypal currents I feel running through my life? Does it feel true, even if it's scary?" Sometimes, the choice that leads to wholeness is not the easiest or most logical one. It might mean leaving a secure but soul-crushing job. It might mean embracing a part of your shadow, like your artistic talent, that your family always dismissed. It is the choice that makes you feel more authentically yourself. This is the great breakthrough. It is the moment the captain understands that they are in service to something larger than their own ego. They are in service to the self, to the unfolding of their own unique, whole being. This doesn't mean the ego disappears. The captain is still needed to steer the ship. But they now steer with a new humility and a new source of wisdom. They navigate by a different star of their own inner truth. So, we return to the bridge of your ship, to your conscious life. The journey of individuation is not a one-time fix. It is the work of a lifetime. The ocean will always have storms, the shadow will always need to be in dialogue, and the unconscious will always send new messages. The empowerment comes not from achieving a final state of perfection, but from embracing the process itself. It is the courage to live an examined life, to stay in conversation with the hidden depths of your own soul. You are the captain. You have always been. But perhaps you have been a lonely captain, trying to manage everything from the bridge, terrified of the noises below deck and the vastness of the sea. The wisdom of Jung offers you a new way. It invites you to become a different kind of conscious, compassionate, and integrated one who honors every part of their vessel and its journey. The next time you face a choice, a crossroads in your life, try this. After you have thought with your logical mind, pause, take a breath. Place a hand on your heart and ask that simple but profound question. What choice would make me feel more whole? Listen to the quiet answer that arises from the deep. That is the voice of yourself. That is your true north. And in following it, you are not just making a choice. You are continuing the sacred voyage home to yourself.